Good morning. Namaskar. Let us begin with a prayer. This is from the hymn Sivamamna Stotram. We are familiar with this hymn because we have chanted several shlokas from this hymn. Swami Stotram, describing the glories of Lord Shiva, composed by a Gandharva. His name was Pushpadanta. This is on page 172 of the book, The Universal Prayers. The first one on page 172. Om Asitagiri samam syat kajjalam sindhupatre surataruvar shakha lekhani patramurvi likati yadi grihitva sharada sarvakalam tadapi tava gunānāṃ esha param nayati. If the goddess of learning, Sharada, were to begin to write your glories using the biggest branch of the celestial tree as her pen, the whole earth as a writing surface, the blue mountain for ink, and the ocean as the ink pot, and if she were to continue to write until eternity, even then, O Lord, your glories cannot be fully described. Infinite indeed are your glories. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have been studying this section 51 to 76, 51 to 57, not 76, 51 to 57, where certain disciplines have to be practiced after acquiring purity of mind by doing all work as offering or puja. This instruction given by Bhagavan Sri Krishna to all seekers of God, seekers of knowledge and devotion, is to do all our work as worship. There are other disciplines too. Those who follow the path of Jnana Yoga, path of inquiry, their preparatory steps are the sadhana chatushtayam, the four-fold disciplines: viveka, vairagya, samadhi shatka sampattihi, and mumukshutvam. Some of you studied that in the Viveka Chodamani. Here, for all seekers, regardless of the path they follow, Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga or Raja Yoga, path of meditation, as taught by Patanjali, whatever path a person chooses to follow to reach God, to reach the goal of life, certain disciplines are essential. The most important requirement for success in any of these paths is the purity of mind. With a mind full of impurities such as lust, anger, greed, pride, jealousy, no progress can be made. And the simplest way to acquire purity of mind is to do all our work as if it is worship. Other ways are there, by chanting the God's name incessantly, constant remembrance. All those things are there. 9 steps given by Prahalada. Sri Ramakrishna said, chant the name of God and repeat the name of God and chant His glories. Seek holy company, meditate in solitude, do all your duties, practice viveka vairagya. All those instructions are all right. But one thing that everybody can do, which does not require any special preparation or qualification, is, since everybody is doing and engage in some work all the time, that we know no one can remain without doing any work even for a short space of time. That we know from experience. We studied that in the 3rd chapter. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit. Without performing any work, no one can stay for a moment. You're doing some work. You're breathing, seeing, hearing, touching, eating, sleeping. All this is work, karma. Now, if all this work can be done as if it is worship, with the same devotion, love, and joy that we do worship, then what happens? The mind becomes pure, free from selfishness, narrow-mindedness, attachment to the fruits of work, etc. That way, one can purify one's mind, because everybody doing some work all the time. There is no need to change the line of work, change your place of living or anything. Same work which we have to do can be done, but only the attitude with which that work is done has to be changed. Work has to be done with joy and with gratitude. As we have seen before, work is a privilege. We don't understand the precious nature of work until we are deprived of it. The human nature, we don't appreciate anything that we have, we take everything for granted. Something we appreciate, the value of something only when it is taken away from us. If it is with us all the time, we don't think about it. Work is like that. 2 precious gifts have been given to us already. What are they? The opportunity to work and the ability to work. So their work has to be done with gratitude. If one of them is taken away, we will be miserable. So we're grateful that we can do some work. Some work is there to do. And that work should be done as a spiritual practice, as worship. Then what happens if we do all our work as worship? Then our whole life becomes one unbroken stream of worship. You're always doing something. If nothing else, you are eating, breathing, you're sleeping, talking, walking. They're all work. This is what Shankaracharya taught also. Yad yat karma karomi tat tadakhilam Shambho tavaradhanam. O Lord Shambho, whatever work I do, yad karma karomi tat tadakhilam karma. All that work, O Lord, tava aradhanam is your worship. The work does not change, need not be changed. It should be done as if we are worship, as if it is worship. That's we studied in sloka number 46 in chapter 18. There Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, svakarmaṇā tamabhyarcya siddhiṃ vindati mānavaḥ. Sloka 46, chapter 18. Svakarmaṇā tamabhyarcya, worshipping him by doing our own work, svakarma, as worship. Then what happens? What is the benefit of doing that one? Mānavaḥ siddhiṃ vindati. A human being achieves perfection. Here, perfection means what? Shankaracharya interprets the word perfection, siddhi, as purity of mind, making the mind eligible, able to inquire into the nature of reality. to know God. Purity of mind is essential. There he says, Brahma jignasa yogyata lakshana siddhiṃ. Brahma jignasa means inquiry into the nature of Brahman, ultimate reality. Brahma jignasa yogyata, ability, eligibility to do this inquiry. Who is Brahman? Who am I? To inquire into these questions, yogyata, that ability to do that one, will come by doing all our work as worship. That is siddhi. That's a prerequisite for progress in spiritual life, purity of mind. What are the impurities which make the mind difficult to inquire into reality or to study anything? We have to have purity of mind. All selfishness, narrow-mindedness, what is in it for me, looking for one's own benefit in doing some work, instead of doing it in the interest of all as offering, as yajna, as we are told earlier in chapter 3, whatever work you do should be done as an offering, as yajna. Otherwise, it is going to be binding. In chapter 3, shloka 9, Bhagavan Shri Krishna said, any work that is done not as yajna, for one's own benefit, is going to be binding, limiting. Instead, we have to do all work as offering, as yajna. Yajñārtāt karmano nyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha. Yajñārtāt karmana anyatra. Yajñārtāt anyatra, other than as yajna. That means for one's own benefit. Yajna means doing something, offering something to others. If work is done for one's own benefit in a selfish way, it's going to be binding. If you do the same work in an unselfish way as an offering, that work will release us. See, work is, as I told before, work is like a key. You see the locks, not the modern locks, which have the keypad. You press the number, not like that. Earlier, regular locks used to come with keys in them. You have to insert the key into the lock, keyhole. If you turn it right, it will lock. If you turn it left, it will unlock. So remember those old type of locks? Karma is like that one. You do karma, same key. One key opens and locks. Both function it does. Karma is like that key. You do it in one way, right way, it shows us freedom. Do it in the wrong way, binds us more. That karma is the key to spiritual progress. So that's why you have to do karma with gratitude and joy and love. Precious opportunity to know God. All karma is an opportunity to know God. That's the attitude Krishna is teaching us. This is just a karma yoga. Do all act as worship. Svakarmaṇā tamabhyarcya siddhiṃ vindati mānavaḥ. 1846. Tamabhyarcya, worshipping him. Whom are we worshipping? That answer is given in the first line, 1846. Yataḥ pravṛttirbhūtānāṃ yena sarvamidaṃ tatam. From whom all the beings have evolved. Animate, inanimate, whole nature has evolved. Sun, moon, stars, galaxies, people, animals, plants. Yataḥ pravṛttirbhūtānāṃ yena sarvamidaṃ tatam. This whole universe is provided by whom? By him, the Lord. Worshipping him, tamabhyarcya. How? Different kinds of worship we know. Ritualistic worship and all those things. But doing all work as worship is the kind of worship everybody can do. Everybody doing some work all the time. By doing that, mind becomes free from impurity, selfishness, narrow-mindedness, attachment to the fruits of work. All those will go away. When the mind becomes free, we have the main step ready for next step, God realization. That's what. So after that, then equipped with the purity of mind, with a pure mind, what else has to be done? has been explained in the verses 51 to 57. 51, we studied Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yuktaha Dhritya Atmanam Niyamya Cha Shabdadin Vishayan Stektva Ragadvesha Vidasya Cha. All these are things we have to do with a pure mind, with the purity of mind, endowed with, equipped with the purity of mind. Vishuddhaya Bhuktya Buddhya Yuktaha, equipped with the pure mind. Several things have to be done. Atmanam Dhritya Niyamya, controlling body, mind, sense organs with resolute firmness. Shabdani Nishyan Stektva, giving up attachment to all sense objects. Ragadvesha Vidasya, giving up likes and dislikes. Ragadvesha. Vivikta 52. Vivikta Sevi Lagvashi Yatabhakaya Manasaha. Resorting to solitary places, Vivikta Sevi. Lagvashi, practicing moderation in food and other things, as you are told in chapter 6. Yataḥ manasa, controlling one's speech, body, and mind. 3 instruments we have. Dhyana yoga paro nityam, always in a meditative mood. Vairagyam samupashritaha, practicing renunciation, both internal and external for monks and internal for householders. So like that, several things from 51 onwards. 53, ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodam parigraham tyaktva vimuchya. Giving up all these impurities, such as egoism, brute force, combined with anger and jealousy, attachment, pride, uncontrolled lust, anger, tendency to acquire things and hoard things, parigraham vimuchya, giving up all these things. Nirmamaha, giving up the notion that I and mine. Shantaha, with a pure mind, a tranquil mind, peaceful mind. Such a person, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, becomes fit for the status of Brahma. All this we studied 53. I'm going through them quickly to come to 57. 57 we have to do today. 54. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatmana Shochati Nekangshati. A person who has become one with Brahman, Brahma Bhuta, such a person, Prasannatma, always has a tranquil mind, nothing disturbs the person. An ordinary person, everything disturbs him or her. Every small thing disturbs our mind. But if you are established in God consciousness, Brahma Bhutaha, nothing disturbs us. Jasmin Sitto Nadukhena Gurunapi Vichalyate, which studied in chapter 6. In the state of mind, when you are experiencing oneness with the divine, even the severest of calamities cannot disturb us in the least. Nothing. No grief, no desire. Nothing to acquire, nothing to worry about, loss. Samasarveshu bhuteshu. We are doing 54. Treating everyone alike, seeing the same divinity in all. This we studied in chapter 5, 18. Vidyavane sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva shapakecha pandita samadarshina. Seeing the same divinity in all, beginning with the best of human beings and the worst of human beings, including animals, such as elephant, cow, and dog. All the beings in creation, same divinity is there, therefore treating everyone alike with love and compassion, with respect. Madbhaktim labate samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate. For such a person achieves pure devotion, param bhaktim labate. Ordinary devotion we already have. We worship God with various motivations, as we saw in chapter 7. Artho, Jigyasura, Artharthi, etc. But then what happens? Our worship, our devotion becomes pure, free from desire, expectations, and fear. Motiveless, one-pointed exclusive devotion will come. Bhaktim labate param. And then 55. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. Such a person then mam abhijanati understands what is God. Now we talk about God all the time, but we have no clear idea of what God is. We have some vague idea. It depends. For some people, God is somebody sitting on a big throne in the heaven, dispensing justice, punishing bad people and rewarding good people. One idea of God. Other people, God is in images and temples, and they worship. Other people know God is within us all pervasive. He is within us all. Same divinity is there. Better understanding of. So we have different understanding. These are all mental understanding at the mind level only, not experience. At that time, Bhaktya Mam Abhijana, with that pure devotion, people will know me actually as I am. Yavan Yaswasmi Tattvata. Tattvata means as I am, as God truly is, that understanding will come. Until then, only vague feeling, this is God, is like this, like that. Some people think God is like Shiva sitting in the Kailasa. For some people, God is Vishnu sitting in Hoikunta with Lakshmi, like this one. These are all okay at certain level, different levels of understanding. Then true understanding about what God, true nature of God will come. Tato mam tattvato jnatva, knowing me as I am actually, getting actual knowledge of God. Vishate tadanantaram, one enters into God. Vishate means enters. Enters in means becomes one with the divine. Until then, the separate I remains. I am a devotee of God, I am a child of God, I am a seeker of God. God is separate from me. That separation will also go away. Like the river merges in the ocean, becomes one with the ocean. When the river merges into the ocean, there is no separate river in the ocean. All rivers merge into ocean, they all become one with the ocean, they become the ocean. Like a drop of water poured into a cup of water, then that drop does not remain a separate drop in the cup. It becomes one with the whole water. So we become one with the divine. Vishate tadanantaram, 55. 56. Also we did last time. Sarvakarmaṇyapi sada kurvāno madhyapāśrayah vatprasadādavāpnoti shāsvatam padamavyayam. Here onwards in this segment of chapter 18, it's all grace of God, vatprasadat. In the earlier chapters are all self-effort. You see the transition here. In the 18th chapter, this transition happens. In the beginning, self-effort. Chapter 6, sloka number 5, he said, Uddharedatmanatmanam. One has to lift oneself up by one's own effort. Self-effort is emphasized. Natmanam avasadayet. Atmaiva yatmano bandhuhu. Atmaivari puratmanaha. Chapter 6, sloka number 5. One is one's own best friend, one can be one's own worst enemy, depending upon what kind of actions we do. And we have to do actions. Svakarma, one's own effort. Atmana uddharet. One has to lift oneself up by oneself. All emphasis on self-effort. That's how we should start. And then, after exerting self-effort to the fullest extent we are capable of, then surrender will come. The best example to understand this, how long self-effort, when grace will come, when to depend on grace, when to do self-effort, is best understood by Sri Ramakrishna's parable of a cow being tied to a pole with a 10-foot long rope. That cow has limited freedom. Within a 10-foot radius circle, it can do anything it wants. It can eat all the grass available. It can eat some of it. It can move about. It can sit down and rest, whatever it wants to do. All within 10-foot radius circle. Beyond that, it cannot go. So until then, self-effort is important. If the cow is hungry, it should eat all the grass available to it. If it is still hungry, then when it is struggling to reach out but cannot, then the owner will come and extend the length of the rope. Until then, if the cow simply sits down there, not eating anything, then it will be there. There is no need to extend the length of the rope. Be satisfied with that area. So we have to exhaust our self-effort. God has given us the ability to work. That ability we have to use, and we have to exert self-effort. Atmanatmanam uddharet. Then after doing the best we can, then we should say, oh Lord, I have done my best. Now it is left to you, your grace. Everything depends on your grace. Not until then. If I simply sit down in one place and say everything will happen by God's grace, I don't have to do anything, then nothing will happen. I have to exert. So Sri Krishna emphasized self-effort in the earlier chapters of the Gita. In the 18th chapter, then he says, all mat prasada by my grace. Then afterwards, it's his. Even self-effort becomes possible by his grace. That understanding will come. Until then, we think I'm doing everything on my own power. That's our understanding in the beginning. No. Even the ability for me to do something comes from the grace of God. That understanding will come afterwards. In the beginning, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can achieve this one. That feeling is there. So here it says in 56, sarvakarmaṇā sada kurvānaḥ. Even if a person is engaged in all kinds of work, for example, a householder, a mother and wife, her job is to cook and clean and serve her family members, her parents, her fathers-in-law, mother-in-law, husband, children, relatives, dependents. She has to serve. Nothing glamorous about it. Hard work, lot of laundry she has to do. And nothing glamorous. That work also leads one to God. As we saw in the Dharmavyada story in Mahabharata. A short version of the story is in Swamiji's lecture, Karma Yoga lectures. Each is great in its own place. It depends upon, it does not depend upon what kind of work we do. If we do it as worship, any kind of work can take us to God. Sarvakarmaṇā sada kurvānaḥ, do engage in all kinds of work. Madhyapāśrayaḥ, a person depending upon God. Not depending upon one's own ability, I can do that in the beginning. But that modification, gradually as maturity comes, we'll try to understand, realize, even what I thought I was able to do on my own power, I could do only because of God's grace. He gave me the power. The sun shines by the power of God. The moon shines, converts blazing sunlight into cool, soothing moonlight by the power of God. Fire burns by the power of God. All that we studied before in chapter 15 and other chapters. Whatever power is there in the moon, in the sun, in fire is all my power. Sri Krishna has said that one. Yachandamasi yachagnav tattejo viddhi mamakam. Yada adityagatam tejaha. Whatever effulgence is in the sun, all that. Yachandramasi, whatever is in the moon. Yachagnav, whatever is in the fire. Mamakam tejasam viddhi. Know that to be my power. That realization will come, but it will take for that to come. Beginning, I can do myself. That feeling is there. So here all grace of God. Madhyapāśraya, depending upon God. So I think I'm the doer, but it is God's power that makes me able to do something. Mat prasadāda vāpnoti By my grace, by my grace, the Lord is saying, Mat prasadat, avapnoti. A person achieves, what does he achieve? Shashvatam padamavyayam, the imperishable, unchanging, eternal abode, our divine abode is God. We reach there. How? Mat prasadat, by His grace. But our self-effort is necessary. It is just like Swami Turiyananda said in one of his letters. If you take one step towards God, God will take 10 steps towards you. But that first one step we have to take. If I am sitting there, then God will not take 10 steps towards me. He is watching. If the child is happy playing with the toys, mother is watching, happy with the toys. When the child throws away the toys, I want only mother. She cries, Amma, like that one. Then she will come and take the child and comfort her. But the child is happy, then mother is watching. So God has given us all these toys of fame. What are the toys? He has given us everything that we have acquired: family, job, children, grandchildren, power, position, money, fame, property, good health, beauty, youth, all these things. We are busy. We are engaged in enjoying these things, acquiring these things. No time for God. But when you are done with this, a stage comes in our life when we say, oh, this is not all. There's something deeper, something higher, something more profound, something behind these things. These things are not permanent. They'll go away. Today they make me happy. Tomorrow the same thing give me unhappiness and pain. For that realization to come, it will take some time. When that realization comes, then we turn to God. Oh Lord, all you only. Then total dependence on grace, prayer for grace. But prasadat, shashvatam padam avyayam apnoti. By my grace, a person achieves this eternal abode, which there we belong. That's our true abode. This world is not our place. We are strangers here. This is not where we belong in this world, this worldly life. We think so. No, this is a stranger's land where we are wandering aimlessly, not knowing which way to go. Like a person lost in the forest, wandering everywhere, not knowing which way to go. We are doing that one here. We are groping, lost in this world, ocean of samsara. But our true abode is God. Shashvatam padamaviyam. That is He. That's where we belong, with Him. That is fit. That realization will come after a long time. To come to that conclusion that God is my abode, that's where I truly belong. This world is not my place. I'm here by mistake. Because of karma I did, I am here. Because I have desires to fulfill, I am here. This is where I don't. It is not where I don't belong. This in here. My place is there with Him. That realization has to come. It takes time for that realization to come. Shashvatam padam matprasadaiva apnoti. By His grace, that understanding will come. We reach that place. Now 57. That's where we have to start. After doing all these things, one more thing has to be done. Chetasa sarvakarmaṇī mayi sanyasya matparaha. 57. Chetasa sarvakarmaṇī mayi sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogamapāśritya maccittasya tatam bhava. With the purity of mind, all these things have to be done. 51 to 57. Sarvakarmaṇī. This instruction is given to dedicate all our work to God has been told to us several times before, beginning from third chapter onwards. Sarvakarmaṇī, all work that we do, excepting two kinds of work we should not do at all. What are they? Nishiddha karma, kamya karma. Nishiddha karma means prohibited action, such as immoral, illegal action, stealing, cheating, telling lies. Should not do it. We should not do it. Say I'm offering to God. It won't work. Should not do it at all. And kamya karma, selfish activity. for doing something for one's own pleasure exclusively, not in the interest of all, not as yajna. That we should not do. Other than that, all other duty that we do, sarvakarmaṇā, mayi sanyasya, dedicating, offering to me, dedicating it to me. This instruction, whatever you do, offer it to me, all work, has been given to us several times in the earlier chapters. Very important instruction. That's why it has come repeatedly. So where did we study that before? Where Bhagavan says, whatever you do, offer it to me. Chapter 3, shloka number 30. Mai sarvāni karmāni sanyasya. That's how the shloka begins. Shloka number 30 in chapter 3. Dedicating all actions to me. Mai sarvāni karmāni sanyasya. 4 more instructions are there. Adhyatma cetasa. Being aware of the divine presence within us and in everybody and everything in the work. It also means, Shankara's commentary, he says, it means, Ishvaraya vrityaiva sarvani karmani karomi iti matya. Vritya means a servant. As a servant of God, as a dasa, servant of God, I am doing all work as a servant. His Lord is my Prabhu. I am his servant. Dasya bhava. With that attitude, we have to do all work. As a servant of God, I am doing this work for him, to serve him. This for Ishvara Prītyartham, Parameshvara Prītyartham. All work I am doing to please the Lord as my offering, as my service, not for my selfish benefit. That's why when you do Sankalpa, before any puja or anything, we should say Parameshvara Prītyartham. This work is being done in order to please the Lord Parameshvara, for his pleasure, for him. Not that he wants the power, not to fulfill his need. What does he need? But by offering all our work to him as our offering, as our service, our mind becomes pure, free from selfishness. That's why we have to offer, not because that he needs our work. He does not need anything. Any offering that is made to God, not to fulfill his need. What does he need? He is the Lord of the whole universe. He is the creator. But by offering, what we mean is we are expressing our devotion, our joy, and we become free from selfishness. Mamatva. That's the benefit of all charity. When we are told to do dana, charity, yajna, tapa, karma, in chapter 18, 5 and 6 sloka, these things have to be done, should not be given up at all. Yajñodanam tapasaiva pavanani manishunam. Chapter 18, verse number 5. Yajna tapas. Yajna means all work as a offering. Dana means charity. Tapas means austerity. How to be done? By all. So, all these have to be offered to God. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. We are doing 1857. And chapter 3, verse 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma cetasa nirashid nirmamo bhutva yudhya savigata jvaraha. That's where we studied. Bhagavan said, whatever you do, offer it to me. Again, he said the same instruction in chapter 9, shloka 27. There he says more clearly, whatever you do, offer it to me. 9:27. Yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yat jahoshi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurusha madarpanam. Yat karoshi, whatever you do, O Arjuna. Offer it to me. Tat kurusha madarpanam. Arpana means offering. Do it as an offering to me. He's asking us to offer our work to him. Why does he offer? Why does he need our work? He does not need, not to fulfill his need. So that we become free from attachment to that work. If I give something to somebody that I thought it was mine until then, it is no longer mine. Namama. Supposing somebody comes to your home and you give a cup of tea and say nice words, I'm happy you came. So why do you give the cup of tea? Not to fulfill it. That person can have any number of cups of tea in his own home. He didn't have to come to your home to have a cup of tea. He has come to show you his love, benefit. For our joy, he has come. I'm happy you came. To express that joy and love for that person, we are out doing some offering. So giving means expressing love to God, not to fulfill his need. May sarvani karmani sannasya. 927 we are doing. Yat karoshe, whatever you do, no exception. Exception is to karma. Kamya karma, nishya karma, that should not be done. Other than that, any karma that we do, including secular activities, going to work, working in the office, bank, clinic, school, wherever we have to work, business, or working at home, anywhere else, whatever work we do, sarvani karmani, may sanyasya, yat karoshi, whatever you do, tat kurusha madarpanam, do it as an offering to me, 927. I give some examples. What kind of work can we offer? First example gives you yadashnasi, whatever we eat. Whatever I eat and fulfill my hunger, satisfy my hunger. But he says, do it as an offering to me. Why? Because it is you receiving the food that we eat. We studied that in chapter 15. There it says, Aham Maishvanaro Bhutva Pradinam Dehamashritaha. Remember that verse in chapter 15? As Vaishvanara, I am sitting in the bodies of all beings. Pradinam Dehamashrita, I am present in the bodies of all living beings, pradis. Animals, plants, human beings. Is there in us. As Vaishvanara, digestive power. What does he do there? Prana pana samayuktaha pachamyannam chaturvidham. All kinds of food that we eat. Pachami, I am going to digest. He's saying that one. We think we are digesting the food. No, we eat the food, dinner, nice dinner, watch TV and go to bed. But he's working all night, all day to digest the food. He's doing more work than we do. We just eat and our activity stops there. It's God's power that makes us able to digest the food that we eat. If it is not there, then health problem will come. So he is there. Whatever I do, Yadashna say, whatever you eat, offer it to me, he says, as an offering, yajna. That's why we say, Brahmarupananda Brahma Havihi. The food I am offering is, eating is yajna, because I am offering to the Lord present within me. The food is Brahman, the recipient Lord is Brahman, the offerer, person who eats is Brahman, everything is Brahman. So that's why eating should be done as a worship, as an offering. Yadashnasi, 927. Yad Johoshi, whatever homa you do, austerity, worship, ritual that we do. Dadasi, yat, whatever charity you give. Tat Kurusha Madarpadam, do it as an offering to me, to the Lord. Why? We become free from attachment to that work, to that object that we give as charity. No longer mine. It was not mine to begin with. But if I had thought it was mine, that also has to be given up. The mamatva has to be given up. Namama. Nirmama bhutva. So that is what he is saying. Chetasa sarvakarmaṇā maya sanyasya. Whatever you do, offer it to me. Tatpurusha madarpanam, 927. So like this, many places we were told earlier that whatever work you do, offer it to me. He's repeating this fine, very important instruction because it is repeated so many times, we know. Chetasa sarvakarmaṇā maya sanyasya. How to offer? Chetasa, mentally only. Physically, how can we give anything to God? In our mind, we should think that I'm giving it to somebody. Even if you're feeding a dog, giving her thirsty dog a cup of water, you're offering it to Brahman. Is it in that animal also? As Vaishvanara. I'm offering it to God. We think we are feeding the dog. We say, Lord, who is receiving that one in the dog's body? I'm offering to him. How this offering is to be done? Mentally only, Chetasa. He says here in the commentary how to offer Chetasa viveka buddhya sarvakarmaṇā Drishta mai Ishvare Sanyasya. Dedicating, offering all work to God. That means giving up attachment to that work, giving attachment to the fruit of that work. That is the meaning of offering, giving up attachment, becoming free from attachment. Mamatva goes away. Everything belongs to Him. It belongs to Him, and even the notion that it was mine also has to be given up. Chetasa sarvakarmaṇā me sanyasya. Next one, matpara. The word matpara comes several times in the Gita. Matpara means, para means supreme. Matpara means God is supreme. What is important in our lives? If you ask that question, different people come with different answers. This question you ask 4 people. Tell me one thing that is most important in your life. One person says, my family is very important to me. I do everything for the well-being of my family, my spouse, children, they are all very important to me. Family is important, comes first. That's important to me. One person. Another person, what is important to you? He says, my profession is important. I'm a scientist. The whole life is only dedicated to science. Other things like family, my own health and everything, property, salary will come later. That is important to him. So different people give different importance. If you ask a businessman what is important, he says, my business is very important. Because if I succeed in business, then I can take care of my family and my health and everything. Business comes first. But if you ask a devotee what is important to you, he says, God is important to me. Matparaha. God is supreme. All the things will come later. My health, my job, my family, my money, my children, all important. But first thing in the list, what is important in order of priority? God. One. And then gradually other things will become less important. They will be deleted from the list. Only God remains in that list. That's the ultimate. Only God. No other thing. That is the final step. Matparaha. Keeping me, making me the supreme goal of life. Matparaha. Buddhi Yoga Upashitya. 1857 we are doing. Buddhi Yoga Upashitya. Resorting to Buddhi Yoga. This word Buddhi Yoga has come a couple of times before. It has come in second chapter, and it has come in Buddhi Yoga Upashitya, 7th chapter. Buddhi Yoga Vasudeva. So what is Buddhi Yoga? There are 2 ways of understanding the term Buddhi. Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means way of thinking. What we think truth is. Buddhi Yoga. In one place, Buddhi Yoga is described as God is the most important thing in my life. That is the intelligence. That is how we should think. Vasudeva sarvamidaṃ. Chapter 7, sloka number 19. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. After trying for several lifetimes, bahunam janmanam ante. At the end of several lifetimes of struggling for knowledge, jnanavan mam prapadyate. Person achieves knowledge, achieves God through knowledge, jnanavan. What is the understanding a person comes to after many lifetimes? Vasudeva sarvam. God is all in all. That understanding will come after a long time, many lifetimes, to know that God is the most important thing. Until then, other things are important in other lives. In one life, all spent only about acquiring money. Another life spent for a family. Another life spent for business. Another life for profession. Finally, after struggling for many lifetimes, one comes to the firm conclusion, God alone is supreme. Vasudeva sarvam. That is meaning of Buddhi Yoga. One meaning. In the Karma Yoga context, Buddhi Yoga means what was described in the 2nd chapter 47-48. Buddhi Yoga means everything I do is worship of God. Everything I do happens by His grace, by His power. and the fruit of karma depends on him, not on my effort, and I should do everything as an offering to him. That is all Buddhi Yoga. In second chapter 47, Sri Krishna said, Karmaneva te adhikaraha, ma phaleshu te adhikaraha. You only have some control, power over the what karma you do. Little bit. Phaleshu, in regard to fruit of work, ma te adhikaraha, you have no power. Because the result of our work depends not only what I do, but upon other factors over beyond, which are beyond our control. What are those other factors? We don't know. Until you go to chapter 18, sloka number 14, there are all the other factors are described. 5 things that affect the quality of our work, result of our work. Adhishthanam tatha karta, karanam cha pratak vidam, vividasya pratak cheshta, daivam chaivatra panchamam. 5th factor is daivam. God's grace, rest of the effect of previous karma, all those things. So all that understanding will come after a long time, struggling for a many lifetime. So that is Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga context. In Jnana Yoga context, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Bhakti Yoga, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. God is all in all. By Buddhi Yoga Upasitya, by thinking that way, resorting to this Buddhi Yoga, Machitta Satatam Bhava, 1857. Satatam, always, incessantly, Machittaha Bhava. Keep your mind fixed on me all time, Machittaha. That's the instruction. Whatever we are doing, wherever we are, in whatever condition, we should keep our mind on God. It takes a long time to achieve that one. We are thinking of other things. A sick person thinks about his body, his pain. A rich person thinks about his property, money. Like that one. Mother thinks about her child. Like that one. But to always think about God, keep God in our mind, satatam machitto bhava, it takes a long time of struggle, many lifetimes. That's the instruction. So 57 is very important. Chetasa sarvakarmaṇī mai samyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upāśritya macchitta satatam bhava. Sarvakarmaṇī chetasa mai samyasya, dedicating mentally all actions to me, to God. I'm doing it as an offering to God. To become free from attachment to that work that I am offering, to become free from attachment to the fruits of that karma, I'm doing this offering mentally only. Physically, how can we offer? Maisanya matparaha, making God the most important thing in my life. Other things will come later. Then they will drop away completely. Only God remains as the one goal of life. Buddhi yogam upāśritya. God is all in Vasudeva Sarvamiti. And all work I am doing is an offering to him. This is Buddhi Yoga. Thinking like this one. Machittaha, keeping the mind, satatam, always on God. Machitta bhava. Practice this instruction. Very important instruction, 57. All these things have to be done, 51 to 57. Buddhya yuktaha, after acquiring purity of mind. How? By doing all work as worship. See how this connection. Preparation, making the mind pure from attachment, selfishness, narrow-mindedness, anger, jealousy, lust, etc. How? By doing all work as worship. Svakarmaṇā tamabhyarcya, siddhiṃ vindati mānavaḥ, 1846. Then after that, 51 to 57, several things had to be done. Controlling the mind, body, sense organs, offering all our work to God, etc., etc. Then what happens? Machitta 58. Machitta sarva durgani matprasadat tarishyasi hatachetam ahamkarat nashroshasi vinangshasi. Of doing all these things, offering everything to God, making the mind pure, and practicing these disciplines, then what happened? Machittaha, when your mind, with our mind fixed on God, Mat prasadat, by my grace, again grace comes. After all, only grace. Until then, self-effort. Mat prasadat, by my grace, sarvamidaṃ tarishyasi. You will cross over all obstacles to God realization. What are the obstacles? All the impurities of the mind, kama, krodha, etc., lust, anger, greed, etc. Other obstacles, property, possessions, desire, these all obstacles to God realization. All this we can overcome easily by mat prasada, by the grace of God. Our self-effort is necessary, but grace of God is what makes everything possible in our lives. Final dependence on the grace of God. After only exhausting our self-effort, not before. If the cow simply sits down near the pole, then it is not doing any self-effort. It's not hungry, so it's sitting there. Don't need to do anything. But it finishes eating all the grass available to it, still hungry, it reaches out, struggle begins. I've done my best, now I need your help. Then God's grace will start. Even that was also God's grace, that 10-foot circle. But it was thinking, I'm free in this area. Freedom, we are thinking we are free. No. So all God's grace from beginning to end. The realization will come later after finishing our self-effort. Machitta sarvadurgani, all obstacles. Durga means difficult to cross. Durgama. Sarvadurgani, all obstacles difficult to cross. Mat prasadat, by my grace, tarishyasi, you will cross over all obstacles and reach God. Or if we don't depend upon God's grace and pray to God, do our self-effort, atachet ahankarat, because of your own egoism, I can do it myself, I'm in charge, I'm in control. With that attitude, ahankarat, nashroshasi, you don't pay attention, you don't listen to my words. Vinangshasi, you will destroy yourself. If you don't listen to the instructions of God given so far in all the 17 chapters, and if you think I can do everything by I don't need Bhagavad Gita, I don't need God, I can do everything by myself, why do I need God? Some people say like that one. Why do we have to bring God into our lives? I can do myself, achieve everything by my own power. That's their understanding. If you do that one, vinangshasi, you will perish, nasha. It's God's grace that makes everything happen. Even to think about God, the tendency has to come only by His grace. Otherwise, we'll submerge in Maya, busy with life, busy with enjoyment, busy with money, property, whatever, busy. No need for God. There's many people you see in the news, what are they doing? Struggling for power by fair means or foul, because they want to power, greedy for power. They do all kinds of things. Where is God in their lives? No mention of God, but power. If I become president, I will be in charge of everything. I can control everything. That kind of people, there's no place for God in their lives. It's all me, I. Then what happens? Eventually, yadahankaram ashritya. No. Atachet ahankarat nasroshyasi. Because of your egoism, you don't listen to me. Shravanam means listening to God's words. We have no time for God in our lives. Then what happens? Vinangshasi, he will go to ruin. No success will come. How much can our egotism, self-effort, how long can it take? How far can it take? How long will it last? And how it has come in the first place? Even self-effort, ability to do something, from where it has come? By His grace only it has come. Yes, He has given us the ability to do something as if we are doing on our own, as if we are doing as our own. No. by His grace. That we know from earlier chapters. It's by the grace of God that sun shines. By the grace of God that moon converts sunlight into soothing moonlight. By the power of God that fire burns, water flows, people live, animals live, plants live. Nature functions by the power of God. That realization will come after a long time. Until then, it's all I. My power, I can do this, I can do that. That's what he's saying in 1858. Ahankarat, by your due to your own egoism, I can do everything. Ahankarat, nashroshasi, if you don't listen to my words, then what happens? Vinangshasi, you will come to ruin, you will perish. So that is the instruction. So we'll continue next time. These next few slokas are very important. And towards the end, the last 10, 12 slokas are only conclusion, palashruti and conclusion. So let me say the closing prayer. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaः, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from suffering, may all realize and practice what is noble, dharmic and auspicious, may no one be subject to any kind of misery. Om, peace, may there be peace and joy in our hearts, adhyatmika shanti, may there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, adi bhautika shanti, and may there be peace everywhere in nature, Adidevika Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Ramakrishnaarpanamastu. Thank you all and stay well. And God willing, we shall see you next week. Namaskar.